When all else fails, Electronic Arts always comes sprinting back to Battlefield 3. When they made Battlefield 4, it was just an updated version of Battlefield 3. Then they spent a few years trying some different stuff with Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, but ultimately went back to Battlefield 3 with Battlefield 2042. But it wasn't Battlefield 3 enough because they started developing it when Overwatch was still cool and they wanted a taste of that hero shooter magic. Yet here we are once again reviving an even more updated Battlefield 3 and continuing the completely random naming convention from 1942, Vietnam to 2142, 3, 4, Hardline, 1, 5, 2042, and now Battlefield 6. This Battlefield 6 preview is everything you'd expect from EA's retreat to Battlefield familiarity. You're once again picking from 4 moderately distinct classes: the Assault with guns and grenades, the Engineer with guns, anti-vehicle weapons, and a repair tool, the Recon with sniper rifles and spawn beacons, and the Support now bearing the load of light machine guns, a defibrillator, and a magical box combining both health and ammo refills. You'll take these classes into the handful of cramped maps this preview provides to slowly turn them into rubble with reckless abandon like you've done in every Battlefield since they figured out how to make walls break. And while that destruction isn't quite as thorough as it once was, it does seem a lot more grounded in reality, giving you that perfect blend of collateral damage and war crimes that you need to efficiently and effectively trigger PTSD. You'll be able to fully experience that demolition on some of the larger maps for Conquest, where you'll capture as many points as possible while leaving a trail of corpses in your wake, with both draining enemy tickets. Or in Breakthrough, which is rush mode trying to sound cooler, where you'll either attack to capture 1 of 2 points at a time directly in front of you, or defend to keep your opponents cashing in their tickets for another opportunity to get sniped in the face. You can also go into smaller game modes like King of the Hill and Domination to pretend you're playing Modern Warfare if the yearly release schedule of those games isn't enough to satisfy your desires. Whatever game mode you choose, you'll take to the streets and countryside in the role of a walking armory of machine guns, rocket launchers, and various exciting instruments of death to face off against your foes. In the chaos of combat, you'll either engage from so far away that enemies disappear behind the pixels of your crosshair, or so close that you'll have to fight to squeeze the trigger from inside the torso of your target. But the great unifier of these engagement ranges is the copious amounts of smoke, ensuring the easiest path to success can always be found by firing blindly into the clouds. However, like every Battlefield of the past, no matter which way you decide to attack or flank, and no matter how advantageous you think your position is, you will get shot in the back by someone who randomly spawned in a better position. But if you'd like to survive the fight for at least a little bit longer, you can pursue the cornerstone of the Battlefield franchise and hop into one of the broad collection of vehicles. Whether you're racing to jump into one at the start or teleporting into one from the spawn menu map, you'll be able to speed into action with the deadliest tools of the war zone like armored fighting vehicles, tanks, Humvees, and helicopters that you'll be able to fly for seconds at a time before spiraling out of control and into the ground like the dumbest of asses. Yet the only thing more satisfying than laying waste to a corridor full of angry dudes like the deadliest frame of Wii Bowling is the feeling you get when you can turn the tables and make one of those mobile massacre machines turn inside out with a ground-shaking explosion. One that may or may not pave your way to victory, where you'll be showered with multiple screens describing the outcome of the battle, your role in that battle, and the rewards you receive for your battle successes. You'll unlock guns and gun accessories that you can then use to equip each of the classes and customize your weapons, tweaking their ability to shoot bullets exactly the way you want them to be shot. Then you can head back into another match and continue your quest for more cinematic Battlefield glory that you can almost discern from the last Battlefield game for only $70 to $100 more. Battlefield 6, the Battlefield 3 you've been waiting for since Battlefield 4. Over the past 23 years, the Battlefield franchise have dove into nearly every game they've released. However, since the ancient days of 1942, I have really only enjoyed the titles that tried something a bit different. Battlefield Heroes was better than people gave it credit for, and not just because it had the best theme song, and Battlefield 1 raised the bar with its unique scenarios and those crazy behemoths, even though it still had its issues. The Bad Company games, especially the second one, had some of the best single-player content with a more compact but still satisfying multiplayer setup. But Battlefield 5 truly set itself apart by giving us that classic 1942 setting with a much more tactical use of squads and classes and the introduction of the now standard buddy revive system. While EA seems perfectly content using refined and distilled systems from their previous games to sell the public something extremely familiar, I'm not sure if I'm personally sold. I know not every iteration can visit a new era of warfare, and there are only so many map types that can be generated from the world, but if I have avoided Call of Duty for years because of their rehashing of the same gameplay, it seems like it would be crazy to let it slide for Battlefield. But if you do want to get Battlefield 6, it comes out October 10th, and you can always participate in the next round of open beta tests to get your chance to play Battlefield 3 version 3.0. But if you'd like to get an original iteration of hot takes, warm satire, and tepid commentary about video games, join OG Adam Watke and the rest of the supporters in liking this video and check out more Abbreviated Reviews.